New tonight at 6, a car catches fire in a local store parking lot. What we've now learned about that. Plus, a few changes made to a controversial streetscape project. What those are. KTVO News at 6 starts right now.
Coming to you live, this is KTVO News at 6.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm John Garlock. Off the top at 6 tonight, a car goes up in flames in a local store parking lot. KTVO's Aish Minin live now from our Ottumwa Bureau with details on that. Aish.
Thanks, John. The Ottumwa Fire Department responded to a car fire at the Dollar General on Main Street this afternoon. Around noon, firefighters were called to the scene and found the car's engine on fire. Crews were able to put the fire out within 10 minutes. Assistant Fire Chief Mike Kraft told KTVO the owner was shopping in the store when the fire happened. The car was towed at the owner's request, but Ottumwa police would not release the man's name. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that report tonight. Aish Minin reporting this evening. New at 6, a Northeast Missouri woman has died a day after she was involved in a wreck near Meadville, Missouri. The two-vehicle crash involving an SUV and a tractor-trailer happened at 5:45 p.m. Tuesday at the intersection of Highways 36 and 139 just south of Meadville. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says an SUV driven by 78-year-old Velma Trentum of Browning, Missouri was trying to cross Highway 36 and pulled into the side of a semi driven by a 46-year-old man from Detroit, Michigan. Trentum was taken by ambulance to University Hospital in Columbia, where she died just before 6 this morning. Trentum's husband, 81-year-old Ernest Trentum, also of Browning, was her passenger. He suffered minor injuries and was taken by ambulance to Pershing Hospital in Brookfield for treatment. The semi-driver was not hurt. Troopers say all 3 people involved in that wreck were buckled up. New tonight, Bloomfield city leaders say there hasn't been any direction to stall streetscape since the election. That might change, though, with some new faces expected in Bloomfield city offices next year. Until the new members are seated in January, City Administrator Gary Bowden says Bloomfield leaders will continue on with what they've been tasked to do.
I don't think that's going to make a whole lot of difference because, to be honest with you, we weren't scheduled to have any changes or any commitments on adjustments to the project until January anyway.
Right now, Bloomfield's streetscape project is in a trial period. The affected street is currently painted in the proposed design for the community to try out. Bowden says the trial period has prompted some changes already. Residents raised concerns about the mid-block curb extension, so the city has decided to do without them. That change made room for about 16 more parking spaces. Adjustments have also been made to the number of handicap parking spaces. If everything goes as planned, Bowden expects the bulk of that project to begin next year. With the new voter ID laws in the state of Missouri, one state official is hoping to clear up any confusion. Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft traveled to the Heartland today. He's the state's chief elections officer. Ashcroft stopped by the new Whippoorwill Acres Wedding and Event Center south of Lancaster today. The Secretary of State has been on a statewide tour to address the new voter laws with the Show It to Vote campaign.
I think it's important to get out here where people can ask me questions, I can answer them, and hopefully they can give me some advice or give me their thoughts if we're doing something right or wrong.
Ashcroft started his tour earlier this year. He's hit most counties in the state. Remarks from today's event are included in this story at KTVO.com. Next tonight, Republicans trying to combine 2 controversial legislative initiatives in hopes that they can get their way this time. KTVO national correspondent Michelle Macaluso brings you that story now from Capitol Hill.
Producing this legislation has been a group effort.
In a 1-2 punch, Republican senators are trying to reform the tax code and repeal the individual mandate in the Affordable Care Act in their tax bill.
So we're lowering taxes for almost all working and middle income families. We're making our tax code more competitive, and we're repealing a regressive penalty for people who can't afford these plans. What's not to like here?
Plenty, according to Democrats.
This tax bill is now officially a health care bill.
Under the latest Republican proposal, the health care aspects include eliminating the Obamacare individual mandate, which has required all Americans to buy health insurance or pay a fine.
The mandate was originally included in the Affordable Care Act to encourage younger, healthier Americans to buy health insurance and to help pay for coverage of older, sicker Americans.
If the GOP does roll back the mandate, It would help them pay for their tax plan with an extra $300 billion over 10 years, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. Changing the nation's healthcare system and the tax code at the same time worries Democrats.
What I care about is this really a tax cut for the middle class? And what are we going to do when they try to take insurance away from people?
The CBO estimates that 13 million people would lose their insurance, and those who are covered would see premiums jump by 10%. Wednesday's Senate hearing was to craft the bill, which may or may not sit well when the House gets to review it. On Capitol Hill, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
Coming up next at 6, local residents getting free food. Why that service is even more crucial this time of year when we come back. At 6, a local mobile food pantry is making things a little easier for families here in the Heartland this holiday season, providing food at no cost to the community, no matter their income. KTVO's Amber Draper reports now from Kirksville.
There are a lot of people in Adair County that are underserved. They may not be starving, but they don't get adequate food supplies.
A photo ID, proof of address, and your social security card, that's all you need to have in order to receive food at no charge at the mobile food pantry. Co-president of Pantry for Adair County, Paulette Reeves, says the food pantry is even more important during the holiday season.
We know that people have company, or they are invited places where they could go and feel like they need to take a dish. And if you are feeding extra people, you certainly do need extra food.
Even though the pantry is not able to supply turkeys and hams, Reeves says what they do have certainly helps with people's everyday needs. The pantry was implemented in 2013 by 6 Kirksville pastors. The food is supplied from the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. Reeves says the program started small and has evolved into something more.
We have become pretty close to several of the people that come on a monthly basis and gotten to know them quite well. Maybe not all of their needs, but it's good to see them once a month and be able to lift their spirits just a little bit. You know, a piece of candy or a smile goes a long ways.
The mobile food pantry will be available again December 20th, right before Christmas, from 10 a.m. to noon at the Truman Farm. For KTVO News, I'm Amber Draper.
The holiday season is just around the corner, and the Ottumwa Salvation Army needs your help. That organization is still looking for volunteers to be bell ringers starting next week. This year, they'll be at Ottumwa's North and South Hy-Vee stores, Fairway, and Walmart. The Salvation Army's Bethany Woodard told KTVO the goal is to raise $30,000 to help fund local programs and services.
So 90% stays in the Ottumwa community to help with financial assistance and faith-based programming and emotional support and everything that we have going on here.
If you'd like to volunteer as a bell ringer, Woodard says you can either call or stop by the Salvation Army office on Main Street. With winter approaching, you're encouraged to check around your homes for needed maintenance, especially your basement. Menards General Manager Doug Yeoman says you might be wary of your basement possibly flooding. One way to stop this from happening is by using basement paint to seal up cracks. Yeoman told KTVO what you can do if water does get in.
Because you'll want to put a sump pump in there so that if you do get water, it will remove the water from your basement. If you do, however, get water in your basement, make sure we do sell shop vacs. You can mop them. And we do have dehumidifiers to clean up afterwards.
Yeoman also recommends putting soil around your house and installing gutters to divert the water away from your foundation.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam located on top of the Samaritan Hospital in Macon, brought to you by Heritage House Realty and Culver Stockton College. Clear with brisk conditions across the area. Get ready for some colder air to return. Coming up in your Storm Team 3 forecast, how low temperatures will be falling, plus when the next storm system arrives. Stay with us.
And now your exclusive Storm Team 3 forecast from KTVO.
Well, welcome back. We do have some clear skies across Centerville. A little breezy conditions as well as we're taking a look at the Continental Hotel on top of the hotel in downtown Centerville, brought to you by Fessler Auto Mall. Clear skies again. Now we got some breezy conditions across Centerville, and a little bit of light rain showers pushing through the area earlier this morning. Didn't really amount to that much, less than a 0.05 of an inch across southeast Iowa, though Ottumwa coming in at 0.12 of an inch. So this is what we can expect as we're heading into the rest of the evening. There's that cold front and that a little bit of precipitation that came through last night very early this morning. That is actually into Illinois or into Ohio and into Pennsylvania. But we do have that high pressure that's going to continue to build in to keep us dry as we're heading into tonight and tomorrow. Plus, we've got some colder temperatures that we're going to be dealing with starting tonight. But those temperatures right now, we've got a big temperature spread. 39 degrees in Albia right now, 46 in Lancaster, but Macon coming in at the warm spot of 53 degrees. We topped out in the upper 50s for today. It felt very nice, little on the breezy side. That's because of the winds are still pretty gusty out there. We're looking at 16-mile-per-hour winds in Ottumwa, 15 in Albia, Centerville around 17, and Kirksville Regional Airport around 9 miles per hour. Well, we've got a big temperature change all because of that cold front that's going to continue to sweep through the area as we're heading into tonight and tomorrow. We're talking a good 15-degree difference between what we had for today and as we're heading into tomorrow. Tonight, though, dipping down into the 20s, 29 degrees at 8 a.m. So bundle up. We were this morning upper 40s, close to 50 degrees. We're going to be far from that as we're heading out tomorrow morning on the way to work and school. 29. Lunchtime, we're looking at 43 degrees with mostly sunny skies, and temperatures continue to fall into the upper 30s at 5 o'clock. So here's what we're looking at for this evening. If you're heading on out, maybe to dinner or to an activity or an event, need to take your jacket because these temperatures are going to continue to fall. We saw it in Iowa as that cold front is continuing to push from north to south. And here's our lows as they're continuing to move in through the overnight. Mostly clear skies. Those winds that are brisk right now, they'll continue to die down, still out of the northwest, and that's going to be ushering in that cooler air about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But look at these overnight lows. This is around 6 o'clock in the morning. We're looking at 24, 25 degrees and only warming up into the mid-40s. So there's our good 15-degree difference between today and what we're going to be into tomorrow. Those northwest winds that are going to be switching back to the south, and that's going to be ushering in a little bit more moisture as we're heading into Friday. So just a little bit more precipitation into Friday, but it'll be out of here as we're heading into the weekend. But again, behind that storm system, the second storm system, we do have some cooler temperatures that we're going to be dealing with into the weekend. There's that lot of moisture coming up along with that warmer air. And then there's that low pressure system and that cold front that's going to sweep through the area. And as we're heading into the weekend, here comes that cooler air coming down from Canada. We're going to actually be on the southern end of this. We're not going to get the coldest air from this storm system, but still our temperatures are going to get down into the mid-40s. Here's the extended 7-day forecast. 45 degrees as your high on Thursday. There's that 25 degrees for tonight that we're going to be waking up to. 56 on Friday with a 50% chance of rain. 47 degrees on Saturday. Sunday, a high of only 41. We're back up into the low 50s for Monday and into the mid to upper 40s for Tuesday and Wednesday. Of course, anytime, check us out 24/7 at KTVO.com. So again, we're very excited today. We're launching our new weather system, so I hope you like it. It got a lot of cool graphics that we can show off now, and hope you like it because we do.
All of our meteorologists are very excited about
yes,
that.
They've
been training for several days on it.
We've been weather geeks for the last couple of weeks, learning this new system, and had a good teacher. So yeah, really cool. Hope you like it.
Very good. Thanks, Teresa. Coming up next in sports, Fred with a look at several local basketball teams. He joins us right after this.
Local sports from KTVO.
Good evening, everybody. In college basketball, Truman State will play its first home game of the year as they host Lindenwood at 7. The visitors won last year's game 94-83 in St. Charles. The Bulldogs are just looking to keep it simple.
We don't really change much from game to game what we're going to do on the defensive end of the floor. So, I think for us that's important all year long. Is we focus more on us than them.
Missouri will face Utah tomorrow. Michael Porter Jr.'s status is still up in the air as he is still listed as day-to-day. Porter was one of 50 players to be named on the Wooden Award watch list today. In high school basketball, the Brashear girls returned 4 starters and a talented freshman class.
First week, we really didn't have to change a whole lot. They knew what we wanted to do right away. We just got to build on it. We got to, hammer down some things that we didn't really finish last year, and we got to refigure out what we messed up on and, build on that.
The Navajo girls return 2 starters. The key will be, can the Wildcats control the pace?
We're not very big. I may, given nights, I may start a lineup that doesn't get any taller than 5'3".
You might want to call the Schuyler County Boys offense yoga, as it will be flexible and ready to change no matter who is in the lineup.
There's not a specific post player that's going to be on the block or a specific guard outside. Everybody's going to be playing on the block and outside. So it is a flexible offense.
10 Truman State football players have made the All-GLVC football team. For more information, go to KTVO.com. Missouri will face Vandy Saturday. Let's hope it's not a trap game, but it could be when everyone is telling you how good you're playing. The Tigers are getting it done on both sides of the ball, so they just need to take care of business early. It's Senior Day Saturday in Iowa as the Hawkeyes host Purdue. Iowa has won 6 out of the last 7 games by a combined score of 127-31. That should not change on Saturday. Truman State Volleyball will face McKendree Friday in the first round of the GLVC tournament. The Bulldogs are a lot better now than they were when the teams met back in September because of the play of Natalie Bremeyer and Sam Yancey.
I think a lot of it is just experience. They've played a lot more. And the more you play, obviously, the more you get used to the speed of the game, the more you get used to seeing what a block is doing and making those adjustments in-game a lot faster than maybe you did earlier.
Thanks, Coach. Don't forget, Sunday at noon on KTVO CBS, it's the Chiefs and the Giants from New Jersey. They kick it off at noon. Teresa is up next with final weather. Stay with us.
You're watching KTVO News at 6.
Turning colder for tonight with mostly clear skies, 25 degrees as your overnight low. And looking ahead for the extended 7-day forecast, Thursday we'll see mostly sunny skies but cooler, 45 degrees. 56 on Friday, so temperatures are on an upswing. We do have a 50% chance of showers. They'll be out of here for the weekend, giving way to some mostly sunny skies, but back down into the 40s, 47 as your high on Saturday. Sunday, even cooler yet, 41 degrees, and into the low 50s at the beginning of the week.
Thanks, Teresa. And finally at 6, Ottumwa firefighters need your help collecting toys for low-income families this holiday season. The so-called Sparky Claus tradition started about 6 years ago. Each year, Ottumwa firefighters gather Christmas gifts from the community and distribute them through CETA Community Action. Last year, the department passed out clothing and toys to more than 900 children and 300 families in Wapello County.
To see the kids' faces, we've had kids cry because they got something new, and you can't beat that.
Families interested in donating toys can drop them off at the Ottumwa Fire Station or select businesses in the community. Those businesses include O'Hara Hardware and Hy-Vee Drug. Donors can also adopt a child by picking up an envelope with the child's age and clothing size at either of those locations. The deadline to do so is December 13th. Christmas will be here before you know it. I
It
know we're
sure will,
not to
yes.
Thanksgiving yet, but time flies when you're having fun, as they said. Check us out anytime at KTVO.com. Have a great night. Wheel of Fortune straight ahead. See you back here for KTVO News at 10 tonight. New tonight at 10, caught in the crossfire. A jury decides the fate of a man accused of murder.
And later in the broadcast, connecting your phone with your car is convenient, but could be putting your personal information at risk. KTVO News at 10 is next.
Coming to you live, this is KTVO News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Schutte.
And I'm John Garlock. Off the top at 10, a Southeast Iowa jury finds a suspect guilty of first-degree murder for the 2015 shooting death of a Burlington man.
24-year-old Earl Riley Booth Harris of Chicago was found guilty today of killing 24-year-old Deontay Carter in February 2015. Authorities say Carter was shot 3 times in exchange of gunfire at a Burlington intersection. Booth Harris was shot in the leg.
The defendant told officials when he was treated for the wound that he had been walking with others when he was caught in the crossfire of 2 other men shooting. Booth Harris was arrested months later in Illinois.
Prosecutors say forensic evidence tied him to Carter's shooting. Next up in the case, a December 18th sentencing hearing. That hearing is just a formality. Iowa law requires a mandatory life sentence.
New at 10, the trial of an Ottumwa man accused of attempting to set his stepdaughter on fire has been delayed. 43-year-old Shane Ryan was scheduled to face trial in December. That trial has now been pushed back until March of next year. Ryan is charged with attempted murder, arson, and burglary. Those charges stem from a June 16th incident on Wabash Avenue on Ottumwa South Side. Prosecutors allege Ryan attempted to set his house on fire using diesel fuel while his wife and stepdaughter were inside. Court documents go on to say Ryan poured diesel fuel on his stepdaughter before lighting the house on fire. The wife and stepdaughter escaped, but the house was severely damaged. Ryan could face 25 years each for the arson charge and attempted murder charge.
Earlier this year, it was announced the English Language Learners Program at the Kirksville Area Technical Center was losing a statewide grant to help fund classes. As a result, Kirksville Regional Economic Development Incorporated, or KREDI, and other local entities joined forces to help. The groups provided $10,000 in funding. At this afternoon's KREDI board meeting, ELL instructor Mary Chrisman updated board members on the classes. She says many of those enrolled in the class are employed by Smithfield's Farmland Foods in Milan and Kraft Heinz in Kirksville. KREDI Executive Director Carolyn Chrisman says that nearly 50 students are currently taking part in the ELL classes.
The majority are from the Congo, but they also have students from Saudi Arabia, Russia, Puerto Rico, Ghana, and a variety of other places. And so the services truly are needed here in Kirksville.
The ELL program at the Tech Center focuses on conversational English and vocabulary. Students have also been learning the proper terminology needed for job site services and healthcare. Instructor Mary Chrisman says she soon hopes to offer field trips to students in the class. She feels it would be beneficial for them to see firsthand how entities like the city and hospital operate. ELL classes at the Tech Center are held 4 days a week. The courses are held both in the mornings and at night to help those who work during the day and vice versa.
New tonight, a 14-year-old Missouri girl who thought she was shooting a large white-tail buck instead took down an elk. Missouri Conservation Agent Tom Struther says the girl was hunting with her dad Saturday between Hallsville and Centralia when she took the shot. When her father realized the animal was an elk, he called a conservation agent. Right now, Missouri has no hunting season for elk. A herd is being grown in southeast Missouri after elk were reintroduced at Peck Ranch Conservation Area in 2011. Struther says the elk shot Saturday was 200 miles away from that ranch herd. The carcass is undergoing several tests to see if it's diseased or to get clues where it came from. No enforcement actions have been taken against the young hunter.
At the Iowa State Capitol today, new apprenticeship programs with 2 national companies with a strong presence in the Hawkeye State. It's National Registered Apprenticeship Week, and at her weekly press conference, Governor Kim Reynolds highlighted how Iowa is a leader in this effort with 846 active registered apprenticeship programs in the state.
Program is a proven solution for recruiting, training, and retaining world-class talent in our state. We're also highlighting Apprenticeship Week to encourage more businesses and job seekers to consider registered apprenticeship opportunities. Investing in registered apprenticeship is good for Iowa businesses currently facing a skills gap, which we hear every day as we travel across the state of Iowa.
Wells Fargo and Tyson Foods announced their commitment to new registered apprenticeship programs and signed their program standards. Reynolds says the apprenticeship opportunities help her get closer to her goal of 70% of the workforce having education or training beyond high school by 2025. Coming up, another reason why having high blood pressure is bad.
And later, what information hackers could find by getting into your phone-paired car. New guidelines from 2 associations have changed the criteria for blood pressure readings. It's cause for alarm for many across the heartland. The American Heart Association and American College of Cardiology now consider 130/80 high blood pressure. The previous guideline was 140/90. Dr. Justin Puckett with Complete Family Medicine in Kirksville says up to half of the medical group's 15,000 adult patients are now considered to have high blood pressure. Puckett says this is a 15 to 20% increase from the old guidelines.
With these new guidelines, it's going to bring a large number of people into the realm of being classified as truly hypertensive. The guidelines have dropped the number down in such a way that people before who we might have been more watchful, we know now we maybe need to be a little more aggressive.
The group say under the new guidelines, the number of men under 45 with what's now considered high blood pressure will triple, and for women under 45, the number with high blood pressure will double. A new report says the number of adults with high blood pressure will rise to over 100 million. This is a large increase from the previous number, which was just over 70 million.
Next tonight, Truman State University is celebrating International Education Week with a week's worth of activities. Students and faculty gathered today for an international flag display and dedication in Pickler Memorial Library on campus.
It's just a real representation of diversity, not only of students, but of thought.
Flags are a representation of the over 400 international students currently attending Truman State University. The banners will be permanently on display. Coming up next, how Google is cracking down on terror.
And later, it's convenient to pair up your car with your phone, but it's also easier for hackers to access your information.
From Facebook to Candy Crush, you probably have dozens and dozens of apps on your phone, but are some of these apps good for your health? Find out tomorrow on Good Morning Heartland.
Next at 10, the new details now being investigated about the deaths of multiple soldiers in Africa.
And what a tech giant is doing now to curb terror recruitment efforts.
Here's the latest now from Washington.
Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis. U.S. officials are investigating possible new developments in the deaths of U.S. soldiers in Niger. A defense official says that eyewitnesses report that Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's body was found with his hands tied. Johnson was one of 4 Americans killed in that ambush by ISIS. His body was found nearly a mile away from the scene 2 days after that attack. The Pentagon has launched an investigation into exactly what happened in the attack and the aftermath. Google is getting tough on terror. As part of its growing effort to crack down on extremism on YouTube, Google is now barring content featuring any person or group designated as a terrorist by the U.S. or British government. Tens of thousands of videos have already been removed from the video website as a result. From the Terrorism Alert Desk in Washington, I'm Lindsay Mastis.
Join us tomorrow evening for a Your Voice, Your Future roundtable titled State of America.
It will tackle major happenings in Washington and what they mean to every American. The roundtable will be live streamed at 6 p.m. tomorrow on KTVO.com.
Next at 10, infotainment in your vehicle.
Why pairing your phone with your car can leave you vulnerable to hackers when we come back.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam located on top of the Kirksville City Hall, brought to you by Heritage House Realty and King's Appliance. Cloudy conditions across the area, mild temperatures to continue. Coming up in your Storm Team 3 forecast, the timing of when rain will push in and how much you can expect. Stay with us.
Car infotainment systems are almost standard in newer cars.
They link to your phone and help with directions, hands-free calling, and much more.
But Sarah Navoy found that unlike advanced security measures on your phone, these systems can be vulnerable to hackers, potentially exposing your contacts, even your home address.
I got you a breakfast bar, got you water. Okay,
The morning routine
let's go to the car, come on.
never really gets easier. That's especially true when, like Paul Sawada, your precious cargo includes an 8-month-old.
What are you doing on over there, kiddo?
She's being funny. And a 3-year-old.
This is one heavy child.
His hour-and-a-half commute includes a drop-off at Grandma's
On to the next stop.
and daycare before the 30-minute drive to work.
Please say a command.
Technology helps a little. Paul has an infotainment system in his car that allows him to listen to music, use GPS, and of course,
Oh, I take calls from the road often.
all hands-free.
The connection is always saved, so the default feature would be whenever I get in the car, it'll automatically sync.
Connected.
But that convenience
You've got to understand the risks associated with that. A connection's a connection.
can come at a cost. Cybersecurity expert Chris Humphreys says the minute you connect your phone to your car,
Most of the time, immediately it's your contacts and your phone numbers, and if you use apps while you're plugged to the system, that data stays behind.
and Humphreys says that left behind data can be in the hands of experienced hackers in seconds.
If somebody wanted to stand up on top of that parking garage and try to hack into each one of the cars on this street, is it possible that they would come up with some data?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Humphreys says car infotainment systems are generally less secure than your cell phone, which likely takes a PIN or fingerprint to open. And because of cost, he says car companies are generally more reactive when it comes to security.
Bluetooth is a great piece of technology, but it has some very, very dangerous capabilities if used nefariously.
All of my contacts, I have my home saved into the infotainment system, so it certainly does give pause when you think about connecting a device.
So what can you do? The only foolproof method is to not pair your cell phone to your car at all. But our expert says that's really not necessary because the risks are low if you take the proper precautions. Never click on a pop-up alert or an ad if it looks unfamiliar. And always unpair your phone and turn off your Bluetooth before you leave your car, especially if you're driving someone else's car or a rental.
Get my ring, good thing.
Paul says he'll likely take that advice from now on, so that way his personal info is secure.
He's hoping to buy.
Yeah.
Alongside his kiddos. Sarah Navoy reporting.
Most car manufacturers have not done much to protect your data.
But last year, Tesla, Fiat Chrysler, and GM established bug bounty programs to reward people who find and report security flaws in their car software.
And now your exclusive Storm Team 3 forecast from KTVO.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam that's located on top of the Samaritan Hospital in Macon, brought to you by Heritage House Realty and Culver Stockton College. Temperatures in Macon about 48 degrees with light winds out of the north at around 6 miles per hour. Cloudy skies all across the area, but look off to the southwest, and we have some very light rain showers is going to start to move in as we're heading into the overnight. Temperatures for tonight not moving very much, upper 40s, about 48 degrees as your overnight low. With the rain is going to continue to advance as we're heading into about the midnight time frame. A little bit heavier as we're heading into about the 2 to 3 to 4 o'clock, and then exiting very early about 6 o'clock in the morning. It'll be out of here. So with temperatures again, overnight lows about 48 degrees. Those clouds will continue to depart as well. We'll see more sunshine as we're heading into Wednesday. It'll be a fantastic day. Temperatures actually just a few degrees warmer than what we had for today, topping out in the mid-50s, but those winds are going to be switching back to the northwest for tomorrow. So a little bit cooler air moving in behind the storm system. Tomorrow night we are back down into the upper 20s and highs only into the 40s as we're heading into Thursday. So we're looking at about 10 degrees difference between tomorrow and into Thursday. As far as how much precipitation, we're looking about a tenth to maybe up to a quarter of an inch across southeast Iowa and northeast Missouri. Starting things out tomorrow morning, 50 degrees at 8 a.m. Plenty of sunshine at lunchtime, 54 degrees, 53, and mostly sunny skies at 4. Riley will have the latest bus stop forecast bright and early in Good Morning Heartland starting at 5:30 a.m. Take a look at these temperatures. Roller coaster temperatures. 45 degrees on Thursday. We're back up close to 60 degrees on Friday with the second storm system pushing in, giving us a 60% chance of rain. We'll dry things out for the weekend. Also cool things down into the low to mid 40s. Of course, anytime, check us out 24/7 at KTVO.com.
It's just a few sprinkles out there, yeah.
A few sprinkles right now, but more is coming.
All right.
Thanks for the heads up. Coming up, Fred with sports, then the birthday celebration for twin polar bears.
We'll take you to the party in just a little bit.
Local sports from KTVO.
Good evening, everybody. We'll start with the Pekin basketball jamboree. It's Davis County and Fairfield. Davis County and white. Alexa Francis would score in the paint. Nicole Book says, Book, there it is. Then number 11 would play some D, and she is rewarded at the other end with the easy basket. 4-2. Let's end it with a great baseline move by Quincy Collier as she would get 2. Next up, it's Sigourney and Moravia. Sigourney in Black Slumbergill gets 2 in the paint. Moravia's Jessica Self would hit the baseline jumper, but it was all Sigourney tonight. It's Megan Sturr. Sigourney was leading a big time when we were there. The Fairfield girls will be young. The key to their season will be to make every possession count.
We have to play hard at all aspects of the game, and we can't lose our focus because we are young. That can be a tendency. So we have to build on every possession and just stay focused throughout the whole entire game.
The Navajo boys basketball team has been one of the top teams in the area. Case in point, the Wildcats have played in the district championship game the last 5 years. The only downside is they have lost all 5. However, with 4 starters back, maybe 2018 will be their year.
I think the strength will be we'll have some senior leadership this time. Not that we haven't in the past, but just some good, valuable experience that the guys have been through in the last 3 or 4 years, and I think that'll help us a bunch.
The Putnam County boys will start the season Friday in Macon. The midgets will look a little different under new coach Kyle Fleshman.
I don't think chemistry is going to be too much of an issue beginning of the year. It's just more figuring out our new roles. Everybody's going to have a different role where before everybody might have been open because defense is concentrated on Calvin. Now they don't have to concentrate him near as much, and so getting shots is going to be harder for those other guys.
The Truman State men's basketball team will host Lindenwood tomorrow at 7, and the Bulldogs are ready.
But really excited to, I think this is the first time maybe since I've been here that we've had a Division II home game this early in the season in November. So really looking forward to getting on our home floor in front of our home fans and playing a really important, meaningful game.
Let's head to Green City High School. That's where Caitlin Connor signed her letter of intent to run track at McKendree. The senior standout already has 4 state medals to her credit. Last year, she won the 300 hurdles, was second in the 100 hurdles, and was 4th in the 200. And in 2016, she was second in the 300 hurdles. In college soccer, Indian Hills beat Lewisburg in the national tournament this afternoon by the score of 1-0. Here's a friendly reminder to area basketball coaches. We need to get your scores. We need to get them from you, and you need to put them on the ScoreStream app. That's how we get them now. I'm sure one of your managers can do it. They're smart kids. I know they can do that, or you can do it too. Hey, you want to be smart and watch the Chiefs and the Giants game Sunday at noon on KTVO CBS. A couple of big basketball games tonight in Chicago. Duke beat Michigan State 88-81. My sister's kids are both Duke fans, and they're probably happy. Kentucky leads Little K, Little U, 38-36 in the second half. Teresa has all the final weather numbers right after you watch this.
You're watching KTVO News at 10.
The U.S. and other countries are taking another approach to fighting terror.
As Circa's Russ Reed tells us, they're focusing on stopping funding for future attacks.
Guys with guns kicking down doors can be pretty effective against terrorists. But if you want to kill the organization, you have to go after the money.
Money is the oxygen to the terrorism. If you stop the flow of the money, you can stop the flow of the terrorism.
Israel's Mossad intelligence agency pioneered this concept in the early 2000s. Violence resulting from the Second Intifada was increasing, and Israeli leaders needed a new solution. The famous Mossad chief, Meir Dagan, came up with a new plan in response. Take out the money.
He initiated this unit, Harpoon, and they had a directive. Follow the money, target the money, kill the money. And they used any tool they could, starting with bombing banks from the air, going after the money men.
The tactic was effective. Terrorist attacks went down by 60% during the Intifada due to a lack of funding, according to Leitner. U.S. forces adopted a similar strategy when they started bombing ISIS in 2014. Instead of just blowing up tanks and militants, U.S. forces targeted ISIS's oil fields, the group's main source of income. They also hit several cash depots, sending ISIS's reserves up in flames. They even used a drone to take out ISIS finance minister Mustafa al-Kaddouli.
People were not loyal to them anymore. They could not pay money and spread all over the population that they controlled.
The strategy has been so successful that U.S. agencies continue to use financial methods to cut off adversaries like North Korea.
New tonight at 6, a Heartland man stabbed in the back, literally, at a motel. Hear a first-hand account from the victim. Plus, the city planning to hire more police officers and give the current ones a pay raise. KTVO News at 6 starts right now.
Coming to you live, this is KTVO News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Garlock. New at 6, Ottumwa police officers make an arrest in connection to a motel stabbing last week. Around 7:15 Saturday morning, 31-year-old Nelson Mendoza of Ottumwa was arrested at the Ottumwa Super 8 motel. He's now charged with several serious crimes, including assault with a dangerous weapon and a parole violation. KTVO's Beth Walden spoke with the victim earlier today.
You hear these people getting shot and stuff, you know. It's like, gosh, no wonder why people don't want to get involved.
Mike Davis was just minding his own business Wednesday morning when an unexpected visitor came to his doorstep.
Yeah, wanting my son, his girlfriend, and told them that they were on their way. So they waited outside, and I heard my son pull up.
It seemed harmless up until Davis heard yelling, so he went outside.
Davis told me he saw the suspect pushing his son's girlfriend up against this fence just outside of the inn. So when he tried to step in and stop the suspect from doing so, that's when he got stabbed in the back.
I saw the knife after he had stabbed me, and then the adrenaline kind of was taken over, and I didn't feel the pain for a few minutes there until afterwards.
After that, Davis said the suspect drove away.
I get stabbed over, stupidity, it was an inch deep, 3 stitches, so lined up with my kidneys.
Davis was receiving treatment for his wound at the hospital a few hours later when he said authorities told him they recovered the vehicle the suspect had been driving, but the suspect
wasn't in sight. Reporting in Ottumwa, Beth Walden, KTVO News.
Police say Mendoza physically resisted arrest. Mendoza is in custody at the Wapello County Jail on $9,000 bond. New tonight, a Southeast Iowa jury finds a Chicago man guilty of first-degree murder for the 2015 shooting death of a Burlington man. 24-year-old Earl Riley Booth Harris was found guilty today of killing 24-year-old Deontay Carter in February 2015. Authorities say Carter was shot 3 times in an exchange of gunfire at a Burlington intersection. Booth Harris was shot in the leg. The defendant told officials when he was treated for the wound that he had been walking with others when he was caught in the crossfire of 2 other men shooting. Booth Harris was arrested months later in Illinois. Prosecutors say forensic evidence tied him to Carter's shooting. Next up in the case, a December 18th sentencing hearing. That hearing is just a formality. Iowa law requires a mandatory life sentence. New at 6, a Northeast Missouri police force expected to grow in the coming year. Last night we told you the Kirksville City Council met to review a draft budget. Kirksville City Manager Mary Maycomber told KTVO that right now the budget for 2018 totals $38 million. One aspect of the spending plan allots funds for hiring 4 new police officers. The police department budget is expected to total roughly $2.6 million. That's about $300,000 more than last year. City documents state that due to an increase in calls for service and an increase in the city's population, 4 more officers are a necessity. In addition, Kirksville police officers are expected to receive a significant increase in wages. That pay increase will not apply to the police lieutenant, deputy police chief, or police chief. The higher wages are expected to help the city attract and retain police officers. Maycomber did admit that she's nervous about the budget increase for the Kirksville Police Department. However, she says that the coming year is the best time to make those budget changes. We're in the middle of Missouri's fall firearms deer season. The Kirksville Police Department is reminding everyone in the heartland to secure their firearms. Hunting season is a popular time of year when people file police reports about stolen hunting items, especially guns. KPD advises all of you who own firearms to make sure your items are not left in vehicles or in unsecured buildings. If you have information regarding any suspicious activity, you're asked to report it to your local law enforcement agency. Temperatures dropped last week, but farmers are thankful it was dry. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says in its weekly crop update that Iowa farmers have about 85% of the corn crop harvested. That's about a week behind the average. Iowa's bean crop is 97% complete, 5 days behind its average. In comparison, Nebraska farmers report they're nearly finished harvesting beans with 99% harvested, but Nebraska is lagging behind its 5-year average of 90% at this point in the season for corn crop harvest at 86%. Happening now, cocktail hour in the city of Bridges. The Ottumwa Area Chamber of Commerce is celebrating with its annual banquet tonight. KTVO's Beth Walden is there now to tell us more about it. Beth.
That's right, John. I'm still at the Bridgeview Center where the event has picked up a lot since we spoke last. And joining me right now is Pam Coppins, and she is a very busy volunteer in Ottumwa. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. This is an exciting night.
And we're going to jump right into it. Some of the projects that you've been working on this year, the Flying was a huge event in Ottumwa, and then the year before that, Ragbri. Talk to me about the success behind those events just alone.
Oh, it takes the whole community to pull that off. And when you're bringing 20,000 new people into our community, we want to put our best foot forward. That's what this night is about, is celebrating our community.
Okay. And looking ahead, what do you hope to see happen as a volunteer, as someone who is very involved? What do you hope to see happen?
I absolutely want to keep moving forward. I'm already got some committees formed for some new events that have never happened. In fact, one of them hasn't happened in Iowa, and you can look for that next fall.
Excellent. And you were recognized last year. Tell me more about that.
Oh, it was a huge, wonderful surprise. The Gene Schultz Community Award is given every year to a member who excels in community involvement and participation, and I was fortunate to receive it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, and hopefully we can enjoy the rest of the night. What do you hope to see happen at the end of the night here?
Well, I think it's a recap of our progress, but also what we still need to work on. And then, of course, we'll wrap up with the new Gene Schultz Award tonight.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
My pleasure. Back to you, John.
All right, Beth, thanks for that report tonight. And coming up, the president on his way back from a pivotal trip to Asia. What did he accomplish? And where do critics say he put himself in a bad position? The answer's next. Next tonight, President Trump will get back to the White House in a matter of hours after what's been a crucial test for him overseas. His Asia trip saw the president walk a fine line with both allies and enemies. Did he meet his own goals? Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman now with a look at the perceived progress and pitfalls.
A whirlwind tour of Asia, stops in 5 countries over 12 days, and meetings with a who's who of presidents and prime ministers.
We've had a tremendously successful trip.
But the to-do list was lengthy and lofty, with North Korea's missile crisis a top concern, he told Full Measure's Cheryl Atkinson before heading overseas.
We are going to have to solve problems like North Korea. North Korea is a big, big problem.
The goal, get other countries to add pressure on North Korea to give up its weapons.
With a president in his first year, his first trip, I think you can't, the expectations should be pretty low.
Elaine Kamark of the Brookings Institution says if anything impressed her, it was his demeanor early on, aided, she believes, by staff and the First Lady.
I think he had a lot of people saying, look, you have to say this, you have to behave in the following way.
And that could pay dividends.
Absolutely, it could pay dividends.
While there, he avoided using nicknames like Rocket Man, but was still stern.
Do not underestimate us, and do not try us.
Though Trump was accused of being too soft on the controversial Philippine president, China on trade deals, and Vladimir Putin, who again denied election interference. No major breakthroughs announced, but possible progress off camera, where staff says there were frank and productive talks.
You don't know if they're going out of there and saying, oh my God, this guy is a bozo, or they're going out of there and saying, oh boy, this guy is really tough, we have to respect him.
In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam located on top of Milan High School in Milan, brought to you by Heritage House Realty. Cloudy and breezy across the area. Mild temperatures to continue. Coming up in your Storm Team 3 forecast, the timing of when the rain will push in and how much you can expect. Stay with us.
And now your exclusive Storm Team 3 forecast from KTVO.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam that's located on top of the Kirksville City Hall, brought to you by Heritage House Realty and King's Appliance. Temperatures in Kirksville upper 40s with winds out of the south at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. We do have some cloudy skies across the area. Earlier in the day, we saw some drizzle or some light mist across the area. Looking ahead for tonight, or temperatures right now, we're looking still into the mid to upper 40s. 51 degrees though in Albia, 49 in Macon, and Unionville coming in around 48 degrees. In fact, temperatures are not going to be moving very much from where we are right now. Overnight low around 48 with that rain that's going to be moving in. Southwest winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So that rain is off to the southwest. It's going to start start to move into our viewing area around midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, starting into Milan area, Kirksville, also into Unionville, and then continuing to spread north and east as we're heading into the overnight. Could actually hear a few rumbles of thunder, but no severe weather is expected. It's going to exit very early tomorrow morning. Most of this will be out of here by 7 to 7:30 tomorrow morning, so you won't need your umbrella on your way to work and school. Again, temperatures starting to warm back up into the 50s for tomorrow. Very mild for this time of year, to the mid-50s. Along with that rain that's exit will be the cloudy skies as well. So we'll see a little bit more sunshine as we're heading into the afternoon. But then temperatures continuing to fall into the 20s for tomorrow night. So we do have some cooler temperatures that we're going to be dealing with from tomorrow night and into Thursday. And that's because of those winds are going to be switching from the southwest to the northwest. As far as how much precipitation, still looking about 1/10 to even 1/4 of an inch across southeast Iowa and northeast Missouri. Speaking of those winds, right now they are out of the southwest. Very early tomorrow morning, once that rain exits, they will be switching to the northwest, and that's going to be ushering in that cooler air for tomorrow night and throughout the day on Thursday. We're going to be looking about 10 degrees cooler from tomorrow into Thursday. But as we're heading into Thursday night, we do have a second little system that's going to be moving in, and those winds are going to be pushing back to the southeast and bringing all of this moisture back in. So another round of showers as we're heading into late Thursday night and throughout the day on Friday. So temperature wise, we're looking about 50 degrees at the start of Wednesday at 8 a.m. By lunchtime, 54 degrees. And at 4 o'clock, we're looking at 53 degrees. Our average for this time of year is about 49 degrees. And there's those northwest winds around 5 to 15 miles per hour. So they are going to be a little bit breezy. So it might be a little bit cooler than that 55 degree mark. But watch these temperatures. 45 degrees on Thursday with a 30% chance very early, but most of it will be out of here as we're heading throughout the day. Late rather, 37 degrees on Thursday night, 59 degrees as your high on Friday. So there we've got that southerly winds. It's bringing up some warmer air as well as that moisture. 60% chance of rain on Friday and Friday night. Low be out of here very early on Saturday morning, so the weekend is not going to be a total washout by any means. Giving way to some cooler temperatures though into the low to mid 40s with mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows ranging from 27 degrees, and we're all the way to 40 degrees from Friday night into very early on Saturday. But then we take a dive once again from Saturday night or Friday night into Saturday night from 40 degrees to 26. Of course, anytime check us out 24/7 at KTVO.com. So really temperatures are on our little roller coaster.
And they're up and down all over the place.
They are up and down all over the place.
Friday will make us dread the weekend, I guess, temperature-wise.
I know, close to 60 degrees and then into the 40s.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah.
Thanks, Teresa. Coming up next in sports, Fred has the latest in high school basketball. Back right after this.
Local sports from KTVO.
Good evening, everybody. The Navajo boys basketball team has been one of the top teams in the area. Case in point, the Wildcats have played in the district championship game the last 5 years. The only downside is they have lost all 5. However, with 4 starters back, maybe 2018 will be their year.
I think the strength will be we'll have some senior leadership this time. Not that we haven't in the past, but just some good, valuable experience that the guys have been through in the last 3 or 4 years, and I think that'll help us a bunch.
County boys will start the season Friday in Macon. The midgets will look a little different under new coach Kyle Fleshman.
I don't think chemistry is going to be too much of an issue beginning of the year. It's just more figuring out our new roles. Everybody's going to have a different role, where before everybody might have been open because defense is concentrated on Calvin. Now they don't have to concentrate him near as much, and so getting shots is going to be harder for those other guys.
The Fairfield girls will be a young and talented bunch. The Trojans think the key to their season will be to make every possession count.
We have to play hard at all aspects of the game, and we can't lose our focus because we are young. That can be a tendency. So we have to build on every possession and just stay focused throughout the whole entire game.
There is a basketball jamboree going on at Pekin as we speak. We'll have highlights on the Late Sports. The Truman State men's basketball team will host Lindenwood tomorrow at 7, and the Bulldogs are ready.
But really excited to, I think this is the first time maybe since I've been here that we've had a Division II home game this early in the season in November. So really looking forward to getting on our home floor in front of our home fans and playing a really important, meaningful game.
Let's head to Green City High School. That's where Caitlin Connor signed her letter of intent to run at McKendree. The senior standout already has 4 state medals to her credit. Last year, she won the 300 hurdles, was second in the 100 hurdles, and was 4th in the 200. And in 2016, she was second in the 300 hurdles. In college soccer, the Indian Hills men are on the field as we speak in Arizona to face Lewisburg in first round action of the national tournament. We will have results tonight on the Late Sports. Here's a friendly reminder to area basketball coaches. We need to get your scores from the Score Stream app. It's in your phone. It's free. Get it, put it in. If you don't want to do it, I'm sure one of your managers can do it. They are smart people, or they wouldn't be your managers. You'd be smart to watch the Chiefs and Giants Sunday at noon on KTVO CBS. Teresa is up next with final weather. Stay with us.
You're watching KTVO News at 6.
Cloudy skies with rain pushing in after midnight. 48 degrees though as your overnight low. And looking ahead for your Wednesday, the rain will push out very early tomorrow morning with decreasing clouds. 55 degrees as your high. 27 though as your overnight low for tomorrow night, as we do have some colder air moving back in. 45 on Thursday, more rain pushing in late Thursday night and into Friday. 59 degrees as your high with a 60% chance of rain. Cooling down though as we're heading into the weekend. We'll see more sunshine though, but highs into the low to mid 40s. Overnight lows ranging from the 20s, 30s to even 40 degrees.
All right, thanks a lot, Teresa. And here are some of the stories we're working on for KTVO News at 10 tonight. First up, an array of international flags on display where you can catch a glimpse of that. Also at 10, new guidelines about what's considered normal and safe blood pressure levels. What we've now learned about the change. These stories and more later tonight on KTVO News at 10 right here. And time for a preview of some of the stories you'll see in just a couple of minutes on KTVO's local CBS Newscast. Lewis Finlay joins us live right now with a preview of what we can look forward to. Lewis.
Thanks, Sean. A stabbing victim speaks to KTVO about his alarming attack. Plus, new developments in an arson and attempted murder case. Teresa Carter will have the Storm Team 3 forecast, and Grant Becker will bring you the Iowa Sports Report. That's all coming up tonight on KTVO News at 6:30, Southeast Iowa's own evening news.
All right, thanks a lot, Lewis. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes, and you can check us out here anytime on KTVO.com. Have a great night. Wheel of Fortune straight ahead. We'll see you back here for KTVO News at 10 tonight.
Tonight on KTVO News at 6:30, a stabbing victim speaks out to KTVO. Plus, new developments into the attempted arson murder case earlier this year. Southeast Iowa's own evening news starts now.
Coming to you live from KTVO studios in Ottumwa, Iowa. This is Southeast Iowa's own Evening News at 6:30.
Good evening, I'm Lewis Finley, filling in for Beth Walden. Off the top at 6:30, the trial of an Ottumwa man accused of attempting to set his stepdaughter on fire has been delayed. 43-year-old Shane Ryan was scheduled to face trial in December. That trial has now been pushed back until March of 2018. Ryan is charged with attempted murder, arson, and burglary. The charges stem from a June 16th incident on Wabash Avenue on Ottumwa's south side. Prosecutors allege Ryan attempted to set his house on fire using diesel fuel while his wife and daughter were inside. The criminal complaint goes on to say Ryan poured diesel fuel on his daughter before lighting the house on fire. The wife and stepdaughter escaped, but the house was severely damaged. Ryan could face 25 years each for the arson and attempted murder. Ottumwa's police officers made an arrest Saturday in connection to a stabbing last week. Around 7:15 Saturday morning, 31-year-old Nelson Yabani Mendoza of Ottumwa was arrested at the Ottumwa Super 8 motel. He was charged with several serious crimes, including assault with a dangerous weapon and a parole violation. KTVO's Beth Walden spoke with the victim this morning.
You hear these people getting shot and stuff, you know, it's like, gosh, no wonder why people don't want to get involved.
Mike Davis was just minding his own business Wednesday morning when an unexpected visitor came to his doorstep.
Yeah, wanting my son, his girlfriend, and told them that they were on their way. So they waited outside and I heard my son pull up.
It seemed harmless up until Davis heard yelling, so he went outside. Davis told me he saw the suspect pushing his son's girlfriend up against this fence just outside of the inn. So when he tried to step in and stop the suspect from doing so, that's when he got stabbed in the back.
I saw the knife after he had stabbed me, and then the adrenaline kind of was taken over and I didn't feel the pain for a few minutes there until afterwards.
After that, Davis said the suspect drove away.
I get stabbed over, stupidity, it was an inch deep, 3 stitches, so lined up with my kidneys.
Davis was receiving treatment for his wound at the hospital a few hours later when he said authorities told him they recovered the vehicle the suspect had been driving, but the suspect wasn't in sight. Reporting in Ottumwa, Beth Walden, KTVO News.
Mendoza is in custody at the Wapello County Jail on a $9,000 bond. It's National Registered Apprenticeship Week. Governor Kim Reynolds highlighted how Iowa is leading the effort with more than 800 active registered apprenticeship programs in the state.
Investing in registered apprenticeship is good for Iowa businesses currently facing a skills gap, which we hear every day as we travel across the state of Iowa.
Reynolds said the apprenticeship opportunities help her get closer to a goal of 70% of the workplace having education or training beyond high school by 2025. Join us Wednesday for our Your Voice, Your Future Roundtable, State of America. It will tackle all things happening in Washington and what it means to every American. KTVO's senior political reporter Scott Thuman leads the panel in our Your Voice, Your Future Political Roundtable, live stream at 6 p.m. Wednesday on KTVO.com. Coming up next, have temperatures affected the harvesting season? We'll have an update coming up after the break. And watch tonight on CBS after the newscast for NCIS at 8, followed by Bull at 9 and NCIS New Orleans at 10. Car infotainment centers are almost standard in newer cars, but Sarah Navoy found that unlike advanced security measures on your phone, these systems can be vulnerable to hackers.
Breakfast bar, get your water. Okay.
The morning routine
Let's go with the car, come on.
never really gets easier. That's especially true when, like Paul Sawada, your precious cargo includes an 8-month-old.
What are you doing on over there, kiddo?
Keeping funny. And a 3-year-old.
This is one heavy child.
His hour-and-a-half commute includes a drop-off at Grandma's.
On to the next stop.
And daycare before the 30-minute drive to work.
Please say a command.
Technology helps a little. Paul has an infotainment system in his car that allows him to listen to music, use GPS, and of course,
Oh, I take calls from the road often.
all hands-free.
The connection is always saved, so the default feature would be whenever I get in the car, it'll automatically sync.
Connected.
But that convenience
You've got to understand the risks associated with that. A connection's a connection.
can come at a cost. Cybersecurity expert Chris Humphreys says the minute you connect your phone to your car,
Most of the time, immediately it's your contacts and your phone numbers, and if you use apps while you're plugged to the system, that data stays behind.
and Humphreys says that left behind data can be in the hands of experienced hackers in seconds.
If somebody wanted to stand up on top of that parking garage and try to hack into each one of the cars on this street, is it possible that they would come up with some data?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Humphreys says car infotainment systems are generally less secure than your cell phone, which likely takes a PIN or fingerprint to open. And because of cost, he says car companies are generally more reactive when it comes to security.
Bluetooth is a great piece of technology, but it has some very, very dangerous capabilities if used nefariously.
All of my contacts, I have my home saved into the infotainment system, so it certainly does give pause when you think about connecting a device.
So what can you do? The only foolproof method is to not pair your cell phone to your car at all. But our expert says that's really not necessary because the risks are low if you take the proper precautions. Never click on a pop-up alert or an ad if it looks unfamiliar. And always unpair your phone and turn off your Bluetooth before you leave your car, especially if you're driving someone else's car or a rental.
Paul says he'll likely take that advice from now on, so that way his personal info is secure.
He's hoping spice.
Yeah.
Alongside his kiddos. Sarah Navoy reporting.
Last year, Tesla, Fiat, Chrysler, and GM established bug bounty programs to reward people who find and report security flaws in their car's software. Temperatures dropped last week, but farmers are thankful it was dry. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says in its weekly crop update that Iowa producers report has 85% of the corn crop harvested. This is about a week behind the average. Iowa's soybean crop is 97% complete, 5 days behind its average. In comparison, Nebraska farmers report they're nearly finished harvesting soybeans with 99% harvested. But Nebraska is lagging behind its 5-year average of 90% at this point in the season for corn crop harvest at 86%. The Storm Team 3 forecast is coming up next. Here's Teresa Carter with a quick check of local conditions.
Hey, thanks, Lewis. Well, here's a look at the KTVO Skycam located on top of the Ottumwa High School, brought to you by Fessler Auto Mall and Culver-Stockton College. Cloudy and breezy across the area, mild temperatures to continue. Coming up in your Storm Team 3 forecast, the timing of rain will push in and how much you can expect. Stay with us.
And now, your exclusive Storm Team 3 forecast from KTVO.
Here's a look from the KTVO Skycam that's located on top of the Continental Hotel in downtown Centerville, brought to you by Fessler Auto Mall. We do have some cloudy skies in Centerville. In fact, all across southeast Iowa, very quiet, calm conditions right now, but we do have temperatures upper 40s to near 50 degrees in Albia, 48 elsewhere. 48 is a popular number across southeast Iowa. Overnight lows 48 degrees, so really temperatures are holding pretty steady as we're heading into the overnight, but we do have some rain that's going to be moving in as we're heading into after midnight. In fact, most of it should start to reach into southeast Iowa near Centerville about 2 o'clock in the morning, continuing. Most of the moderate to heavy rainfall will be about 2 to 5 o'clock over southeast Iowa, exiting by 7 o'clock in the morning. So really not going to need your umbrellas on your way to work and school, but those temperatures continuing to warm up. We're looking at about 50 to 51 degrees at 7 a.m. Those clouds will continue to decrease as well, so we're going to see a little bit more sunshine as we're heading throughout the day. Plus, those temperatures are going to continue to warm up into the mid 50s, so very mild temperatures for tonight. But watch what happens though as we're heading into tomorrow night. Temperatures continuing to fall, and we are talking into the mid to upper 20s. So we have a little bit of a cold front behind this first little system that's going to bring in some rain from tonight, out of here very early tomorrow, and highs only into the mid 40s on Thursday. So we're looking at a good 10-degree difference between tomorrow's high and into Thursday. As far as precipitation amounts, looking about a 1/10 of an inch or so across southeast Iowa. Those winds though, they were out of the southwest for today, so that was bringing up a lot of this moisture from the south, as well as the warmer temperatures that we're going to be dealing with for tonight and into tomorrow. But throughout the day on Wednesday, very early tomorrow morning, those southerly winds are going to switch to the northwest, and that's what's going to bring in that little bit colder air behind this first little system. So that's why temperatures are dropping into the 20s tomorrow night and only into the 40s as we're heading into Thursday. However, they will switch back to the south because we have another system that's going to bring us some rain late Thursday night and throughout the day and evening hours on Friday. So for Wednesday morning, we're looking at 50 degrees with partly sunny skies at 8 a.m. By lunchtime, 54 and 53 degrees at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's the extended 5-day forecast. Temperatures are really kind of on a roller coaster ride over the next few days. 45 degrees as your high on Thursday, 59 on Friday. But looking to the weekend, we'll see more sunshine and dry conditions, 44 on Saturday as well as Sunday. Overnight lows tomorrow night, 27. We're back up to 37 and even 40 degrees over the weekend. Saturday night and into Sunday, though, we're looking at 26. Of course, anytime, check us out 24/7 at KTVO.com. Lewis, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Teresa. Still ahead, Grant Becker with sports.
Roy Moore. That name has been all over the news this past week. There have been numerous allegations that Moore engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior, including with teenage girls as young as 14. If these allegations are true, he should step aside. The problem is that the election is on December 12th, and Roy Moore's name cannot be removed from the ballot. The possible outcomes are as follows. 1, Moore stays in the race and loses on December 12th. 2, he withdraws from the race and Luther Strange, the current Republican occupying that seat, or another member of the GOP runs as a write-in candidate. 3, Moore wins on December 12th and is then removed by a 2/3 vote of the Senate. His replacement would be chosen by the sitting Republican governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey. 4, Moore wins and serves as the senator from Alabama. This race in the Yellowhammer state has widespread national implications. Right now, Republicans have the slimmest of margins in the Senate with 52 votes. Remember, repeal and replace of Obamacare failed by just 1 vote. If Republicans lose this seat, that will leave only a 51-vote majority in the Senate. With tax reform legislation in the works as we speak, and healthcare still under consideration, margin of error is key. Here's the bottom line. Chances are a Republican will end up in the Senate seat currently up for grabs. After all, Alabama voted Republican in 2016 by a 28% margin. My sense, however, is that Republican will most likely not be Roy Moore.
Local sports from KTVO.
Hello, everybody. Iowa cornerback Josh Jackson was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week last week for the first time in his career. He celebrated by coming up with a pair of pick sixes this weekend to earn the honor once again. Josh Jackson leads the nation in interceptions and is being talked about as a potential first-round pick should he enter the NFL draft. The bad news for Iowa is that outside of extra points, Jackson was the only Hawkeye to score on Saturday. Iowa will have to move on from a rough offensive week as they host Purdue this weekend.
They're playing with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and playing really good football right now. They're moving the ball well. That really comes as no surprise with his offensive background, his expertise. Defensively, that's equally as impressive to me, and they have not been strong defensively over the last couple of years, but they're playing really well on defense right now.
Iowa State came up just short Saturday against Oklahoma State and the Cowboys' high-powered offense. Despite knocking off the top two ranked teams in the conference, the Cyclones are sitting at 5th in the Big 12 with a 4-3 conference record. The good news for Iowa State is they'll have a chance to clinch a winning record in the Big 12 when they take on a struggling Baylor squad this weekend. Iowa basketball opened the season with a pair of wins this weekend. The Hawkeyes knocked off Chicago State Friday night and Alabama State on Sunday. They'll look to close out their season-opening homestand with a win when they host Grambling State Thursday night. Things will get tougher for Iowa after that, though, as they head down to the Cayman Islands Classic, where a potential matchup with number 12 Cincinnati looms. Iowa State is off to a nightmare start this season. The Cyclones opened with a loss on the road against an extremely talented Mizzou squad, but things got much worse last night when they followed it up with an 18-point loss to Horizon League bottom feeders Milwaukee. After making 6 straight NCAA tournaments, Iowa State lost 4 starters, and it's showing early. The Cyclones will have a chance to get the season back on track when they take on Appalachian State Thursday night in the quarterfinals of the Puerto Rico tip-off. Indian Hills men's basketball is off to a 4-0 start. The 6th-ranked Warriors have 4 players averaging double digits in the early going. They're back at home this weekend to take on Northern Oklahoma and Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. Indian Hills men's soccer begins national tournament play tonight. Yesterday, the Warriors watched Tyler knock off today's opponent Lewisburg by a score of 3-0. In order to advance from group play, Hills will need to pick up a win, and Lewisburg entered the national tournament on quite a run.
You know, Lewisburg is, they're on a roll right now. They're hot. They've knocked off some very good teams on the way to getting where they're at, and they can play. So they've got some good athleticism and some good pieces in there. So.
And finally, Fairfield boys basketball held their first practice of the season yesterday. Mick Flattery is back as the boys' head coach in Fairfield after stepping away following a state tournament run 10 years ago. Flattery has been the girls' head coach for the last decade, but he's back and trying to bring the boys' program their first winning season since his previous stint.
Basically, the biggest thing the first week is me putting in our new program that they have to get used to. So that's going to be a lot of fast break basketball, a lot of continuity offense and defense, multiple defenses back and forth, pressure defense as well. So learning a new system is going to be the biggest thing for these guys in terminology.
The Trojans open the season 2 weeks from today at home against Oskaloosa. That's it for sports.
That's our broadcast for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're online 24/7 on KTVO.com, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and even on Instagram. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great night.